Hello and good morning, everyone. So, thank you, everyone, for the loveliest Teachers' Day wishes. I am definitely overwhelmed, actually, absolutely overwhelmed. And as much as I teach you, I learn a lot from each of my students. So, the teaching and the learning is both ways. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be teaching you guys each day, every day. So I thought let's start the day with a little meme on a good note, on a humorous note. So this is what I found. In fact, this is what I do every day when I teach online, either on the Unacademy platform or on YouTube. So very good morning, everyone, and it's a pleasure to have every one of you here. So please let me know who all are there online, so I'll know that you're there in the class. All right, so let's begin. Briefly about me, to all those who are new to the class, I'm Siddhi Bangard, and I did my graduation from BIT Mesra Ranchi. I have appeared for 4 mains and an interview and did my post-graduation in MBA and HR from XLRI Jamshedpur. You can use my code SBUS or SP Siddhi for any UPSC category subscriptions under Unacademy, and this code will enable you to get a 10% off on the subscription fee. Also, you can follow me on the Unacademy app so that you get all notifications for my classes which happen on the Unacademy platform. Apart from that, I am live on YouTube every single day at 11:30 a.m. Tell your prelims are there. So at least for this September, I'm live at 11:30 a.m. Uh, the only reason I won't be live on a day will be because I am not doing well. I'm unwell. Otherwise, every single day you can count on me. Subscribe to our channel, Unacademy, UPSC CSE Unacademy in English, so that you can get notifications from YouTube. And if you follow me here on the Unacademy app, you can message me on the Unacademy app for any queries, any concerns. I will surely revert back. With that, let's start. So, coming here on the Plus platform of Unacademy, you get daily live classes. You get to interact with me. Most of my students also end up making fun of me as soon as we start, because now become really close. They have been with me for a couple of months already. So it's pretty nice class. Then live test and quizzes. So I'm doing live test and quizzes both on Unacademy and on YouTube, 11:30 a.m. on YouTube and 8:30 p.m. on the Unacademy. Structured courses, that means everything is aligned with the UPSC syllabus, which means everything under the sun is in your course. And with one subscription to Unacademy, you get access to all the recorded courses. So a lot of people are actually reaching out and seeing my science and technology course, which is already there on the platform. So you can see all the recorded courses as well as the live courses that keep coming up on Unacademy with just one subscription to Unacademy. With that, we also have the Iconic program. This is a very unique program, at least for an online platform. Why? Because apart from all the benefits of the Plus courses, that is live classes, test series, unlimited practice, and structured schedule, you also get a personal coach, daily mains Q&A practice, a study planner, and a personalized feedback from somebody who's very experienced. So you can interact with that person on WhatsApp, Telegram, face on face if you're in the same city. So that really makes your preparation and navigating through UPSC very, very easier. With that, for 12 months Iconic, it's 64,000. For 24 months of Iconic subscription, it's 99,000. You can use the code SBUS to get an instant 10% off. With that, under the Plus, for 1 year, it is 44,000, and for 2 years, it is 64,000. And you can use my code SBUS to get an instant 10% off on any of the UPSC CSE subscriptions. With that, choose wisely, choose Unacademy and choose Iconic, and use my code SBUS to get an instant 10% off on any of the UPSC CSE subscriptions. So this is the special classes that I was talking about. They happen each and every day on Unacademy till your prelims are there. So the full September they'll be going on daily live at 8:30 p.m. unless absolutely I am ill or I'm not in a position to take the class. This class is definitely going to happen. So if you follow me on Unacademy, you will get the notifications for this class. Here we do prelims current affairs. So 10 to 15 questions we do for current affairs. Very enjoyable class. I have a lot of fun. Students have a lot of fun. So you're welcome to come to these special classes. And with that, we'll start with today's class. Ground rules, feel free to be wrong in the class. It is okay. Remember your successes. For prelim students who are appearing for prelims 2020, ground rule, there are just two ground rules. First, read the question properly, reread it if needed be, and second, if everything fails, use your common sense. God has given every man and woman common sense. Use it. This is the best time to use it to get your answers right. That will fetch you additional 5 marks, 6 marks, 10 marks, which will help you clear the prelims. 20 to 25 seconds to read your questions and 30 seconds to answer. Most importantly, it's a lovely weather outside in Jaipur. We have very, very pleasant weather, somewhere 25 to 26 degrees Celsius, along with some sunshine. So I hope you have a wonderful day. With that, question 1 on your screens. So 20 to 25 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the Teachers' Day wishes. Yes, I am seeing Krishna, Monisha, Shantani, Afreen, Soman, Neelam, and Akash. Very welcome, guys. Hello, Naveen. Another 10 seconds to go, and then we'll start the timer and you can start answering. All right? Okay. I already have a couple of answers here. Aswati is also here. Aswati, why there is a woman's photo in your DP? I mean, if I'm not offending you. All right. Okay, yes. Option number C is correct. Option number 1 is wrong. It has been in news for too long now already. So the thing is, the center had predicted when they had gotten the GST that your revenue will actually increase, right? They predicted a 14% growth in revenue for the states. So if that doesn't happen, the center is going to compensate them for the losses in revenue. Compensate who? The states for the losses. So till August, the center has already released some amount of money as compensation, but still a major chunk of money has not been released to the states, and which is causing a lot of disengagement in the states. And given the current coronavirus crisis, the center is again falling short of revenues. And in fact, we recently had the very famous and very controversial statement by Nirmala Sitharaman that the gains of GST have been washed by the act of God. So with that, I don't see the states getting any sort of compensation because the center doesn't have any money. With that, yes, as a statutory requirement, this was not supposed to happen for just 3 years, but for 5 years till 2022. Taking 2016 as the base year, 2017 the GST was launched. And yes, the cesses are collected on sin or luxury goods. So we'll actually discuss that. Namaste Abhishek. Good morning, Sanjeev. So all of you are correct here. There is nothing wrong. Just remember, they had guaranteed a 14% tax revenue growth in the first 5 years after GST implementation. If that doesn't happen, that percentage of your revenue is actually funded or compensated by the center, which is after levying sin tax or cess on the luxury goods. So we already know there are 5 rates of GSTs. One is the zero rate. We will do one more question on this. One is 5%, 12%, 18% and 28%. 28% is usually for the luxury goods. All right. And they attract an additional cess over and above the 28% GST. So your nil rate is for the most commonly used goods and services. For example, your hulled cereals or hulled grains, which is what? Brown rice. 5% on standard goods and services, for example, your rotis, something which you will consume day in, day out. 12% on another standard sets of goods and services which can be afforded by relatively economically better off, and similarly for the 18% also. So if you want to read more about this, and one more update I have to give here. Yeah, that was Suman. That we can't do anything because it has been washed by the act of God. So I have another update for you guys. A positive one. So first thing, combining the Unacademy sessions and the YouTube sessions, we have already covered the current affairs for a better part of the last 1.5 years. The current affairs for only 2 months remain now. August I've mostly covered. So what remains is June and July current affairs that we need to cover. So we'll cover it in the rest of the September. Additionally, I'll start to add some static questions so that we get a grip on that. And last but not the least, I think by today EOD, I should be able to share all the PDFs with you for both the YouTube sessions. Unacademy sessions PDF are already available on the Unacademy platform so that you guys can start preparing. I'll surely try to do that. I hope my health will permit me to do that. With that, if you want to read more about how they are distributing the GST, what is the news, you can go and read this article of the Hindu Business Line. Let's move on to question number 2. No, Abhishek, I have 2 codes. One is SBUS or Siddhi Bangard on Unacademy Plus. That is for the YouTube sessions, and one is SP Siddhi. You can use either one. Both are my codes only. All right. Okay. Coming to question number 2. Your 30 seconds start right now. This one's pretty easy. All right. Somebody has already answered me. Most of you are correct. Sanjeev, it is growth supplements used in animals. So it was in news a little earlier in June 2020 or May 2020, I guess. So Colistin is basically, well, it's an antimicrobial drug used for critical care in humans. Usually it is given to ICU patients for critical care and seems to be pretty effective. However, it is also pretty effective as a growth supplement for animals. So what some MNCs have been doing is they are mixing it with the animal feed to be given to the animals for them to be more productive. But what happens is when we consume that poultry or dairy, then it builds up antimicrobial resistance in humans. So seeing that concern, the people from Apollo Cancer Research Hospitals and a couple of hospitals, Christian Velour College, Christian Medical Velour College in the South, these 2 people, they had actually authored a paper regarding the ill effects of colistin on antimicrobial resistance amongst the human population in India. So seeing that, the government of India, they have prohibited the MNCs to include colistin as an animal feed. So these people were pretty happy. They said it's a win for the human population because already growing antimicrobial resistance is a very, very big problem in India. And apart from the fact that yes, we do have over-the-counter antibiotics subscribed. So this move will really help in at least preventing antimicrobial resistance to one more drug. So that's why this thing was in news. You can read it on this article on the Hindu that colistin banned in animal food industry and the farmers had no problem to it. Another interesting fact about this is maximum amount of colistin is actually imported from China. That's approximately 90% of colistin is imported from China. So even if the government wants to ban it, in one shot, they will actually stop the imports from China. So it's beneficial to both our domestic industry as well and to our import bill as well. All right. So yes, most of you are correct. Sanjeev, it's option number B. It's a growth supplement used in animals. Is that okay? And it has been banned by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. With that, let's move to question number 3. Again, I give you 15 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. This one is also pretty easy. I hope my pace is okay. Are you guys able to understand? Is there a problem? Then let me know if I'm going too fast. All right? Okay. Your time starts now. This is something which we have done numerous times on YouTube and on Unacademy, starting since June. I've already discussed this in great detail. Thank you, Abhishek. All right. So coming to the answers, Afreen and Akash, it is option number D. We do have a component of peer perception, though this was a major reason why Indian institutes like IITs, the IIMs, or even the IISCs fared not so well in the QS international rankings. But we have kept this as one of the measures. We have given it 10% weightage in the NIRF rankings, which were launched in 2016. So, interestingly, these rankings were again launched newly after the QS rankings were launched for this year. Just to show that we are doing well, we have our own framework, all right? And let's discuss what are the various percentages of these parameters in the NIRF rankings. This framework is important. It's an important question for prelims, so please keep in mind and also learn the percentages that might be helpful. So going forward, your teaching, learning and resources percentage is 30% of the total weightage. Another 30% is given to research and professional practice. Graduation outcomes has been given the percentage of 20%, and outreach and inclusivity has a percentage of 10%. So it is a very important parameter, outreach and inclusivity. Given India is a very, very diverse nation, this becomes a very, very important parameter to actually judge any Indian university, which is not so much included in the QS rankings. But for us, it is very, very important. And peer perception, we have given it a small percentage. However, in the QS rankings, this has a higher percentage, and that's why most of the higher institutions that we have, or institutes of eminence that we have actually slipped in the global list. So, how to remember the percentages? What are the two most important things about higher education or about any education? It is how the teaching is done, and secondly, how the research is carried out if it is a higher education institute. So that is why they both have been given the highest percentages. 60% of the weightage has been allocated to them. The next is if people go into the field of higher education and when they come out, they will be actually joining the workforce. So how is the outcome on the workforce? That will be given another 20%. And the remaining 20% is how much are the people invited in there? What is the inclusivity factor? And last one, how do people actually feel about this institute? So that's why that has been given both 10% weightage each. Is that okay? And what the NIRF framework or our Minister of Education had to say, he said that 90% of the NIRF factors are completely objective. The outreach and inclusivity, graduation outcomes, research and professional practice, teaching and learning resources, they are completely objective. Only the peer perception is a little subjective component. We have included it so that our framework is at par with the international framework. I do consider that it's a pretty good framework to do it. And if we have our own rankings, it gives us better perspective over our institutions. No, Abhishek, this is a different one. All right. Krishna, Abhishek, Sanjeev, Satyanarayan, you're also correct. Abhishek, this is the different than the national infrastructure pipeline that we already discussed. We have discussed that in the previous YouTube class, I guess, previous YouTube class. So that's a little bit different. Is that okay? This is for the institutional rankings. What I want you guys to do after this class is IIT Madras has been ranked best. So look for the top 3, which are the top 3 institutes first thing. That is the first homework. The second homework is look for the sub indicators in these major indicators, if any, because UPSC is now not just asking about the indicators, but it is also asking about the sub indicators within these indicators. So if there are any, please go and look for them. And also get a hang of who are the top 3 higher educational institutes in our country. So that will actually complete your preparation regarding the NIRF rankings. Is that okay? Yes, this is for higher education. This is for higher education only. All right, Sanjeev? Because for others, for example, for the normal school education report, you have the ACER report taken out by the Pratham, which is an NGO. So that is also published in the economic survey. You can see it there. Is that okay, Sanjeev? All right, let's move on to question number 4. So another 30 seconds to answer it. Supriya has also come to the class. Good to see you, Supriya. Neelam, I'm really happy to see that you are quite punctual to my classes now. Happy to see that. All right. Anybody wants to answer this? We have, I think, already done this once. All right. None of you have given me a correct answer as of now. So, well, this is actually the World Bank. Yes, Aswati and Abhishek are right. Ridhima, Suman, Krishna, Sanjeev, it is option number C. The Solar Risk Mitigation Initiative has been operationalized by the World Bank. What does it do? So they are trying to create a $500 million fund to actually invest in solar energy initiatives. So it's a financing fund that they have actually come up with. So let's see what are the details. So they are doing it as of now. The $333 million have been invested for 22 African countries. All right. The idea has been incubated as a part of the International Solar Alliance. So that was in news in the Hindu business line. All right. But what I really want to tell you about is the backstory. So let's go to the backstory. The backstory is there on the World Bank page where they have given an energy brief about SRIMI. So they are talking about solar energy as a cheap source of energy. It provides universal access to electricity, and when combined with battery storage, it can be a source of firm power, and most importantly, it will help us meet the SDGs and keep the climate change scenario under 2 degrees Celsius, right? Now, given that, what they said, if we need to have this, we need to have 950 gigawatts of solar photovoltaic energy, and for that we will require at least US dollar 400 billion investments in the wind and US dollar 500 billion in solar photovoltaic panels. So with that, they actually set around this initiative that we will set up this fund, and we will actually invite the countries to come and do the investments. Both public and private investments will be there to increase the access to electricity and to have risk mitigation regarding the private investors. For example, if the private investors come in, right, there is a huge risk involved with it because this is a new sector. So just to offset their risk, just to give them a cushion, we will have this integrated initiative called the Solar Risk Management Initiative. They are doing it in partnership with the International Renewable Energy, all right, and Agency of France Development, so AFD, and the International Solar Alliance. So 3 or 4 international organizations are involved in it, and they are trying to attract private investments and reduce reliance on the public finances. All right. So there are actually 3 components to mitigate the risk of solar deployment. What is this? First is sustainable solar targets. We should have targets which can be easily achieved by the private finances that will come in. So you actually built a roadmap of how you want to achieve solar reliance. So that's first one. The second one is transparent procurement. All right. So you should have a tender platform where the e-tenders are floated or the tenders are floated, which is very transparent, so people can bid and be assured that the best player wins. So that is the second one. And the third is viable risk mitigation coverage, so that if you are having some projects which are not very viable, or might not prove to be very viable in the long run, they are properly financed. Otherwise, what will happen? The private sector will stop financing, saying that these are dead projects. So just to have that, there are three components: sustainable solar targets. You actually roll out a plan on how to achieve solar reliance. Transparent procurement means having digital platforms for tendering process, and viable risk mitigation coverage, financing projects which might prove to be dead end. Yes, Abhishek, tell me. Yes, Abhishek, you also answered correctly. And Ashlesha Borul also answered it correctly. Shantini answered it correctly. Tell me, what is the doubt? Tell me the doubt, Abhishek. So recently, based on the three components that we just discussed, what have they come up? They have come up with sustainable solar guidelines, all right? What are the pros and cons of each step you take towards becoming a solar reliant country, or if you are actually ending up making a solar project where you're putting up solar energy? So it is a diagnostic tool which tells you how to have a sustainable solar program. So that is one of the products that they have come up with. The second is a global e-tendering program, so that it's a competitive bidding process. The entire bidding remains transparent to the private players who are going to invest their money in this initiative. These are the two products that they have already come up with. IMF is not an arm of World Bank, Abhishek. IMF is not an arm of World Bank. They're separate institutions. IMF is not an arm of World Bank. They're separate institutions, and that's why separate options. Is that okay? But the best way to do this question is, see, whenever things like developmental things come up, if you are to invest in huge developmental projects, mostly it is World Bank funding. Is that okay? I mean, most cases, 90% cases, it will be World Bank funding if it is an infrastructure project meant for developing countries. That's where the funds come from. IMF is there for your balance of payment crisis, or when you want to make economic changes or economic reforms in your country. That is when the IMF comes into play. All right? Okay. So let's come to question number 5. Yes, Akash, you're right. IBRD. Another 20 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. Abhishek, is your doubt solved? Akash also answered correctly the last question. All right, another 10 seconds and then we'll start. There you go. We have already done the Indian Ocean Commission a lot of times. Naveen, you might want to take a look again at it. Answer too quickly. Okay, Suman is correct. The correct answer is A. The Regional Maritime Information Fusion Center functions under the aegis of Indian Ocean Commission. That is true. India wants to station naval liaising officers at both places. So let's check this out. Why option number 2 is incorrect. So this is actually not for the Regional Maritime Information Fusion Center. This is not related to this. It is related to a separate organization. Point number 2. So yes, Suman, Sanjeev, Satyanarayan and Dev are correct. Shantini is correct. Alright, option number A is the correct answer. Let's see how. So recently, India wants to deploy naval liaison or liaison officers at both these places. Regional Maritime Information Fusion Center, which is in Madagascar. All right, it's an initiative of the IOC, Indian Ocean Commission. We have already discussed this numerous times. I will again discuss it here. And European Maritime Surveillance Initiative in the Strait of Hormuz. So the second point, that the aim is to monitor maritime activity and guarantee freedom of navigation in the Persian Gulf and Strait of Hormuz, is for EMASO, that is European Maritime Surveillance Initiative. It is not for the first one, Regional Maritime Information Fusion Center in Madagascar. All right, that is for the Mozambique Channel and for the latter part of the Indian Ocean, not for the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. That's why option number B is not correct. All right, why was it in news? Because India became an observer with the Indian Ocean Commission in March of 2020 along with Japan and the United Nations. China and European Union are already the observers of the Indian Ocean Commission, right? The RMIFC is based in Madagascar. Do you guys remember Vanilla Islands and the IOC we have already discussed? We also have an Indian Ocean division in the Ministry of External Affairs, which comprises of these Vanilla Islands when Venkaiah Naidu visited the Comoros Islands. I've repeated that many times in the class. Let's actually look at this. The Indian Ocean Commission, it is an intergovernmental organization based out of Port Louis, Mauritius. Suman, does it ring a bell? Suman, Supriya, we discussed this in the YouTube session only, that this actually was established in 1984. It was created in 1982 but established in 1984. So it has 5 or 6 observers now. Japan is also included. China, India, Malta, European Union and OIF plus the UN, which recently joined it in March 2020 along with Japan and India. So who are the members of the IOC? Madagascar, Mauritius, Reunion Island, overseas region of France. I think Naveen had asked me a question, ma'am, who signed the agreement for Reunion? And Seychelles. Remember guys, we discussed this. So what are the countries involved? You can see them all here. This is your Malta. Sorry, this is not Malta here. Malta is here. All right. You have France here, Reunion, Comoros, Madagascar, Mauritius, Seychelles, all are here. These are a part of the Indian Ocean Commission. We have discussed this now like n number of times in the class. Is that okay? Everybody familiar with it now? You won't make a mistake? India is not a member, Abhishek. India is an observer state. Alright? But India definitely wants to integrate more with them. Alright, so let's come to question number 6. No, actually wait. I want to discuss one more thing here. How many of you are aware about white shipping agreements? So there are 3 kind of shipping agreements: white, grey and black. Alright. So basically these are bilateral agreements. India and US have one. India has white shipping agreement with almost 36 countries, right? So under this agreement, you actually color code your ships. If it is a white coded ship, that means it's a commercial vessel, commercial navy vessel. It is carrying goods for export or import, right? If it is a grey colored vessel, it is a military vessel. And if it is a black colored vessel or black coded vessel, that means it's an illegal vessel, and the country in which the black vessel is going or it is hosting, they can take action against it. So these shipping agreements really help in information exchange about the shipping vessels that are going around the trans-international bodies of the water. So they are very, very important agreements. Remember the names: white shipping agreements, grey shipping agreements and black shipping agreements. India has white shipping agreements with almost 36 countries. India is also a member of the Trans-Maritime Network. It is a collaboration of 30 countries hosted by Italy. So India became a member in December 2018. Is that okay? Everyone gets it? Are we good? If you have any further confusions, please let me know. Let's come to question number 6. This is an easy one. So a recent report was released. That's why this question is here. So another 10 seconds to read and then I'll start the timer. It's a color code, Ashutosh. Yeah, they are actually planning to color their ships in the same manner. It's a bilateral, Abhishek. We have 36 bilateral arrangements with the countries. So the multilateral maritime network, that's a multilateral instrument. They want to do a similar thing on information exchange. All right. Okay. So we are finally having answers on question number 6. Ashutosh, it will actually be a form of information engagement. So if they want to engage, they can say, no, that ship is a white ship, that ship is a gray ship, this is the black ship, you can take action against it. So it's kind of an indicative color coding. I don't think the legal ships will want to get colored black. So that won't happen. So yes, it's an indicative color coding. The naming is there. That's why I wanted you to know what is white shipping agreement, what is gray shipping agreement, or what is black shipping agreement, right? All right. So most of you are correct. Ashutosh, it's not option number A, it's option number D. And Ridhima and Sanjeev, it's option number D. All right. Afreen, you also. All 5 are actually nuclear armed states. All right. Let's look at the report which came out and a couple of more important factors. So there was a SIPRI report, Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. We have number of times read about this institute. We have always had it in the options. So this is the one report that it releases. It releases an yearbook to assess the current state of armaments, disarmament and international security. That's the name of the report. So according to it, there are 9 nuclear armed states: USA, Russia, United Kingdom, France, China, India, Pakistan, Israel and North Korea. And combined they actually possess 13,400 nuclear weapons, which is a little lesser. That is, there were earlier 1865 nuclear weapons in the beginning of 2019. Now they are 1,400. So where have the remaining 465 gone? So they have been dismantled by the US and Russia, which have the maximum number of nuclear weapons. So these were older weapons. They have been dismantled and hence the number has decreased. Let's go into the details of this report. It has been, it's not official recognition, but it's coming in the report. Sorry, Abhishek, which option is correct? So yeah, that was in 2015. In the 2020 report, they have recognized North Korea. Is that okay? Yes, Akash, Pak has more than India. You're right. Okay. So coming here, the first important information of this report is China is doing a significant modernization of its nuclear arsenal. All right. And they have actually developed a nuclear triad. That means nuclear capability on land, sea and air, right? And they have also increased the pace of their new nuclear weapons coming up, right? So approximately 240 warheads have been assigned to China's operational land and sea based ballistic missiles and nuclear configured aircraft. The rest are assigned to non-operational forces such as new systems in development. So 240 are almost in deployment and operating functionally. So that is there. The second is China has adopted a strategy of self-defense. Unlike India, which has no first use, only a policy of deterrence, China actually has a very aggressive policy of self-defense. And that is the reason it is developing its triad of land, sea and air at a very aggressive pace, not just to deter, but also for having counter-strike capabilities. Good afternoon, Aditya. I know, Ashutosh. No, they haven't, Ridhima. That's the thing. In fact, India has also not signed the NPT. They have been wanting other nations to sign the NPT, but India did not sign the NPT and so did Pakistan. None of them have signed the NPT. Is that okay, Radhima? The other states which developed as nuclear states first, they wanted India and Pakistan to sign the NPT, but none of them have done that. All right. Then Pakistan, yes, as Akash mentioned it, has more nuclear warheads than India. Pakistan has 160, China has 320, and India has 150 nuclear heads. So originally also Pakistan has 150 to 160, China had 290, now it has increased, and India had 130, 140 nuclear heads in January 2019. The next piece of information is this one, that aircraft, when it comes to India's nuclear heads, aircrafts are the most mature component of India's nuclear strike capabilities. That means our nuclear bombs assigned to aircrafts are very well functioning in a very mature stage. We are also trying to develop a nuclear triad, and with the induction of INS Arihant, we have already made a head start in that. So we have 12 nuclear warheads have been delivered with INS Arihant. Then coming to the other things that they said, that whether it be China, whether it be Pakistan or India, they haven't come up with a full disclosure of their nuclear armament capabilities. And the final point is that, which we already discussed, that these are the 9 states which have nuclear capability, and as of now around 3720 of nuclear weapons around the world are in the stage of alert. That means they can be used immediately, and 1800 of these are in high operational alert. Akash, nuclear suppliers group is a very different thing. It's actually an export control regime. Your comprehensive test ban treaty or your non-proliferation treaty are okay. The first two are for non-proliferation of nuclear warheads. Why they want that? First of all, the first few nations which were capable of developing the nuclear warheads, they didn't want, I mean, after developing the nuclear warheads, they had this epiphany all of a sudden that we can't have other nations developing the same. Why? Because if some of them are developing nations and they develop such kind of capabilities, then the problem might arise. They might not be in very responsible hands. For example, if a dictator has a nuclear bomb capability, like the problem which we are facing in North Korea, they might use it for destroying humanity. So that's why they came up with the concept of NPT and CTBT. Why this concept? Because under this concept, you have to make a full disclosure of whatever you are doing under the nuclear armament, first thing. Second thing, you actually cannot, under the CTBT, you cannot carry out nuclear bomb test. You can use it for peaceful uses of nuclear energy, for example, in your electricity generation, but not for warheads. So that is why India is neither a member to NPT or CTBT. We want to have that strike capabilities because our neighborhood has it. All right. Coming to the NSG, there are 4 export control regimes. NSG, CTBT and NPT forbid you from having nuclear power. NSG controls that nuclear power, right? So this is a nuclear suppliers group. They actually sell the technology. Not everybody is capable of making a nuclear warhead. It is a difficult technology. So you have to borrow that technology from the nations which have already done. So these nations have come together to form the NSG. All right, there are a couple, I think 40 close members around in NSG. I don't remember the exact numbers. So talking about these 4 export control regimes, one is the Wassenaar arrangement, one is the Australia group, another one is the MTCR and the NSG. Apart from NSG, India is a member of the other 3 export control regimes. So that really speaks in the favor of us. All right, that our initiative towards peace, our responsible handling of nuclear warheads and the nuclear technology has made us a member of the 3 export control regimes, so that we can easily get the technology for making up nuclear missiles or for using it for peaceful purposes. We got an NSG waiver in 2005 when Bush and Manmohan Singh, they signed an agreement. So that was that we will be given the technology of we will be given the nuclear technology or the missile technology, but we will not be asked to sign the CTBT or the NPT. So that was how it was. However, China has further blocked our entry into NSG because China is a member of NSG, and it says if India wants to join, then even Pakistan has to join because both are not the signatories to NPT. So Pakistan has to be kept on a similar level. However, most other nations of NSG, they do not agree to it. They say you cannot compare India and Pakistan. But so far, we have not got entry into NSG. Is that okay? Akash, does that answer your question? So the other two, they banned the proliferation of nuclear warheads. NSG controls the technology. That's the difference. And Akash, if you want to know more about it, I have taught it in my defense technology lectures on Unacademy. Aditya must be knowing it. So in detail, I have covered the 4 technology control regimes. I have covered everything that we have been doing in the defense technology for the past 1 year in that 1.5 hour lecture, 1.5 hour 2 hour lecture. So you can go and visit that. All right. Let's come to question number 7. Interesting question. And Abhishek, this question will be very interesting to you because I will also discuss the rivers which are associated with these thermal power plants. So your time starts now. We haven't signed the NPT, Aditya. We haven't signed the NPT yet. So any answers? Option number D is actually correct. Okay. So the answers that I have got, Afreen is correct and Neelam is correct. Chandrakala is late to my class. Shantani is correct. Yes, it's option number D. All 3 are incorrect. Your Suri is in West Bengal. All right. The remaining 2 are in Uttar Pradesh. So let's see where they are. However, the limits that are given here, 1000 megawatts, 1300 megawatts and 648 megawatts, these are correct. I think this Pakistan is also not signed, Aditya. Pakistan remains at par with India. They both have refused to sign. See, Aditya, I'll tell you the funny thing. Once you have, made the nuclear weapons, it is very difficult to force that nation to sign the treaty. Unless otherwise you impose sanctions, what they did with Iran. All right. It's okay, Chandrakala. So the correct option is D. Dev, you're correct. Let's actually come and see what this is about. So your Paricha power plant, all right, thermal power plant is on the river Betwa. Abhishek, are you still here? You wanted me to discuss the rivers, right? So Paricha power plant gets its water from the river Betwa. Obra again is actually Obra Dam. So Obra Dam is built on the Rihand, or Rihand river is also known as Renuka. It is also in UP. It is made on the Obra Dam. Alright, so that's river Rihand for you, from where it gets water. Paricha again in UP, and it gets its water from the Betwa river. Let's come to Suri, and this is one river about which you might not have heard apart from the people who are from Bengal and the northeast region. So this is the Badkeshwar river. Badkeshwar river is a tributary of the Mayurakshi river. Suri is your Badkeshwar thermal power plant in West Bengal in the Birbhum district. Good morning, Prakash. Agreed? Everybody understood? So your Badkeshwar river is a tributary of the Mayurakshi river. Mayurakshi is a perennial river, flows through Jharkhand and West Bengal. In fact, the Chota Nagpur plateau is full of such rivers. So they are a little above Damodar and the Baraka river that we discussed, they flow a little above these. So Barkeshwari is one of tributaries of the Mayurakshi river. And we also have the Ajar river flowing through Jharkhand and West Bengal. Is that okay? Yes, understood? So these are the rivers. For the Barkeshwar river and the Mayurakshi river, I wanted to show you on the map, but instead of doing that, I want you to go and look for it. If you still don't find it, we will discuss it in today's session in Unacademy. If I do have one, if my health permits, we will have a session at 8:30 p.m. in the evening. All right? So these are the three rivers that we were talking about. I don't know where Abhishek is. Abhishek has left or what happened? Okay, let's come to question number 8. So 20 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. I will also show you the artificial intelligence portal that India has launched. It's a good portal, informative portal. Another 15 seconds to go and then we'll start the timer. Sorry, Aditya, Bongaigaon. Yes, up till now we have done Bongaigaon only. You're right, Aditya. We did it a couple of days ago. And that too, when I told you this, when we were doing Bongaigaon, I told you that they had shut the older station because it wasn't very viable and they have come up with the new one. All right. So I have my first answer. Okay. Yes. Sola Rajan. The answer could be D, right? Can you please answer in the options? All right. Okay. Yes, the correct answer is D. Everyone's correct. This was an easy one. What I want to show you is the portal now. So India did join the Global Partnership for Artificial Intelligence as its founder member. And yes, it is one of the first initiative of its kind to actually look for challenges and opportunities under artificial intelligence, specifically important after the COVID crisis. And yes, it is supported by the OECD countries. Chandrakala? No. Bongaigaon is in Assam. We were talking about Northeast. Bongaigaon is Assam. All right, Obed? I won't do that blunder. Naveen and Chandrakala, it is D, option number D. All right. So basically, which are the countries which are leading this initiative is US, UK, EU, European Commission, Australia, Canada, France. All right. All the developed countries are leading this initiative. And we are joining the bandwagon. We will contribute by means of research and development, and we'll also be able to leverage the information that these people have. So this body is supported by the OECD Paris. All right, the headquarters will be hosted in Paris. Now, this was in News on AIR in May 2020. What I want to show you is the portal. I will first show you the snapshot of the portal and then I'll take you to the portal directly. So this is the India AI portal. It was launched recently on 30th May 2020. We also have a national AI strategy. It's a document, national AI strategy document. It was launched in 2018, I think somewhere around December. So I'm not discussing it here because it's a very generic document, but maybe we can discuss the modalities of the document somewhere. Yes, we have joined recently. Yes, Nameen, you're right. We joined recently. Okay, so this is the portal and now I'll show you the actual portal. It's a wonderfully designed portal. One of the few portals which have been designed very nicely. So let me show you this. Can you guys see the portal? I hope the video is not lagging. This is the actual portal for which I took the snapshot. So if you go to the ecosystem part, all right, they actually talk about innovative startups which have done great work in AI. They also talk about the investment funds which can actually fund your AI startups. They talk about the resources. You have videos, data sets, AI standards listed here. news and articles regarding AI. So the latest news being that Google flood forecasting initiative, which it extended to Bangladesh, they have extended it to India also now. So this was in news very recently. So all the AI related news can be found here. Another one being IIT Delhi starts a school of artificial intelligence. So now they will have a dedicated, what do you say, a class dedicated to AI only. Indonesia also released something. So all the news can be found here. And it's a pretty good portal, very well designed, very interactive portal, very nice portal with a lot of information. And we also have the initiatives, right, which have been set up by the Niti Aayog in the various AI forums. So you can go and check this out. This is a wonderful portal. All right. So going back to our PPT, let's come here. Let's come to question number 9. This is an interesting thing, juice jacking. So I'll give you another 30 seconds to answer it. So who is answering this? Obed has already answered. Who else? Afreen has answered. So, interestingly, I'll tell you something. It's actually, Ashlesha has answered it correctly. It's option number C. Cyber attack, which happens during the mobile charging process. Most of you, many of you, including me, whether, yes, Prakash and Ridhima, you're also right. It's option number C. Most of you, when we are traveling, so either be it on the railway stations or on the airports, now mobile charging ports are available. So we just plug in and we know we leave our phones there. So whenever you're connecting it to a data cord there, then this is called juice jacking. So by means of charging your phone, they get access because your flash drive in the phone, it gets activated because of the charge. So it is very easy to extract data. So how do you actually do it? Jacking actually stands for hacking kind of. So juice jacking is a terminology used for cyber attacks during the mobile charging process. It was in news. So Suman, you're also correct. Sola and Dave, it is option number C, cyber attack during mobile charging process. So it has been recently found out that during the charging process, they can actually, install malware or secretly copy data from your smartphone, tablet, or any computer device. So what can you do? Either you can switch off the handset before recharging, carry your data banks or keep your devices in charged modes. There is also a concept called USB condoms, all right, which can be used. So if you go and read this article, it has in detail various ways to prevent data theft by means of juice jacking, one of them being USB condoms, which I wanted to discuss. So it's a different kind of connector. It is a connector which only lets your mobile phone charge and no data transfer can be done. That's why it is called a USB condom. And you can always keep the protection state on. So whenever you want to use your phone outside of your normal zones or on any other charging point, you can use this kind of connector. Additionally, they also suggested avoid opening password pattern tools. So for example, we have this habit of checking our phone while it is charging. So they suggest that don't check your phone. If you keep it pin locked, if you keep it pattern locked during the time it is charging, it becomes very difficult to have any data theft from your phone. So as of now, prevention is the only way to stay away from frauds of juice jacking. Yes, own power bank is also a solution, which I already discussed, that either you keep your phone charged when you go out. So try to not keep it at the minimum charge position when you go out thinking that we'll charge it on the airport or on the railway stations or inside the trains. So better is that you keep it charged or carry your own power bank. Or as I said, use USB condoms. It's a new term. I found it to be very funny, but nonetheless pretty informative. All right. So let's move on to question number 10, the second last question for today. All right. So I give you 10 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. Your time starts now. I have already discussed much of this question when we just started off, right, Suman? Right? We discussed that. When we started off, I was discussing it in the first question. And yet, most of my students are doing it incorrectly. So apart from Suman and Prakash, nobody has answered it correctly. It's option number 1 to 4 and not 1 to 3. Cereal grains hulled is like something which husk, like brown rice. Alright. So earlier they used to be charged at 5% of GST, but now the rates are nil. So option number 3 is not there. 1, 2 and 4 are there under GST. Is that okay? Yes, Akash. Parota recently in news. Parotas I think are like parathas only. I have eaten them a lot of times when I was in Chennai. Yes, Sola. They are under GST. So option number 2 is not correct. Option number 3 is correct, Sola. Is that okay? So option number C is correct. Milk in Tetra Pak, so that attracts a higher rate of GST, I think 12%. Ready to eat parota, 12%. Plain chapati or roti, 5%. So earlier, they were saying that parotas should not actually attract any rate of GST, but they do. So if it is ready to eat, if you're taking it away from a restaurant, 5%. If you're taking up frozen parota, so there's a difference. One is the ready to eat parotas, that attracts a lesser rate. But if you're taking up frozen parotas or frozen chapatis or rotis, anything which is frozen, then it attracts a higher rate of GST because they are considered to be processed foods. And that's why milk in Tetra Pak also attracts a higher rate of GST. Yes, hulled cereal grains are out, Aditya. Understood? So if you want to understand more about it, I have included all of them here. Alright. As I said, milk in Tetra Pak, is taxed at 5%. Condensed milk is taxed at 12% GST. So I think condensed milk is what you actually used for your bakery items, especially to prepare sweet dishes. Alright. So yes. Yes, Abdul, you're right. So that is here. There was another article. Actually, you can read this article. This is a pretty good article on Live Mint. Ready to eat parotas to attract 5% GST, says Finance Ministry. So read this article. It has more details about the food articles which are being taxed. Is that okay? Let's move on to the last question for today. So I give you 20 seconds to read. Yes, Neelam, you're right. Cake also. They are bakery items, na? They are processed items. So they attract a higher rate of GST. 20 seconds to read. This is the easiest question for the day. It was there in the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Alright. So everybody should get it correct. And your 30 seconds start right now. Someone has already answered me. Great. Obed, what are you doing? Playing Inky Pinky Ponky in the class? Huh? Is that so? Prakash, why 1 and 3? Did you not go through the ABNA notes? We discussed it. I've discussed it many a times in the class also. It's option number B. Suman, Aditya, Satyanarayan, Ashwati, Afri, Neelam. It's B. Ridhima, it's not A, it's B. Yes, as of the new rules, there is no distinction between manufacturing and service MSMEs. This was one of the prominent announcements made by Nirmala Sitharaman in her May speeches in the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. And yes, they also changed the definition of MSMEs. Now, not just investments, but also turnover will be included. So, this is 1 to 5 crores for micro industry, not 2 to 5 crores. So, 1 to 5 crores is the range. Let's actually go and take a look at it. Yes, Supriya and Chandrakala, it's option number B. Shantini, you are correct. Dev, it's not option number A, it's option number B. Sanjeev is correct. Akash is correct. So, there is no more distinction between manufacturing and service MSMEs, and they will be defined similarly. And now investment and turnover both will be used for defining MSMEs. So let's take a look at this. The composite criteria is investment in plant and machinery and annual turnover with effect from 1st of July 2020. Micro, annual turnover 1 crore, not more than 5 crores, so between 1 to 5 crores. All right. Then for small, 10 to 50 crores. We have already done these limits a lot of times. And then finally for medium, 50 to 250 crores. Just to bring them all under the ambit and just to actually ensure that they keep on growing. Otherwise, they used to limit their growth earlier when the limits were a little smaller. So these are the changes that have been made. Is that okay? Everybody? So investment limit is 1 crore, annual turnover not less than 5 crore. Investment limit is 10 crore, annual turnover not less than 50 crore. And investment limit is 50 crores and annual turnover not more than 250 crores. So your first number is your investment, 1, 10 and 50 crores, and your second number is your turnover. Is that okay? Yes, Prakash, I know. So now you know it. Remember it, Prakash. This is the latest information. All right. Okay. So with that, I'll end the session. If you have any doubts, I think Prakash came here for a doubt. Any doubts, please let me know. We are at the end of the session. I'll see if I can have a class in the evening. All right. And maybe tomorrow also. My health has been troubling me for a while. So I'll try to get back on my feet ASAP so that we are not missing any sessions. I'll try and compensate for it. Maybe we'll have longer sessions when I'm back. All right. Actually, it's not bad, Prakash. It's actually good because when you keep those distinctions, it becomes very biased for them. Yes, Aditya. Right. You're welcome, Akash. Thank you, Sanjeev. You're welcome, Supriya. And happy Teachers' Day to all of you. Thank you for all the wonderful wishes that I received. I wasn't able to reply back instantly because I was preparing for the lecture. I will surely reply to all of you. Have a wonderful day. And again, it's been very pleasant outside in Jaipur. So I hope it's as pleasant around your city. You're welcome, Satyanarayan. Tell me, Prakash, what was your doubt? See, if Prakash, you do feel you're losing out on the static aspect of GK, you want to pay more attention to it, you're very welcome to do whatever suits your interest. The first interest for me is that my students get selected in the prelims. That's the thing that's going to give me maximum happiness. If you feel your time is better utilized doing that, please go ahead and do that. All right. Yes, Suman. Thank you, Chandrakala. Is that okay, Prakash? Are you still here? Then I have a pretty good temperature here. It's very cloudy and the birds are chirping outside and maybe we'll have rain. I think Jaipur has become the new Bangalore these days, but I'm really happy to see. Thank you, Sanjeev. All right, Prakash. So what help do you want from me? Let me know that. If it is giving you a nightmare, go and invest more time. If you feel you have done enough for the current affairs, I don't have a problem. No issues from my side. All I want is prepare well, have confidence when you give the exam, clear the exam. That's the entire idea. Your 1 year should not be wasted. You have prepared really well. You've worked your asses off. Get the most out of it. All right. So, Ridhima, answering your question, the benefits is leveraging knowledge. See, the benefits is you get recognized internationally. You are a part of an international consortium which has all the developed nations. So it's like, Ridhima asking me what are the benefits of joining IIT. Your peers are very talented and that kind of rubs on you. You can leverage their talent, you can leverage their technology and give your peace of mind to them. So India will be doing a similar thing in GPAI. Is that okay? Coming to your question, Aditya, uh, it's a little difficult to answer. Seeing the pattern of the questions that we have, uh, dances, music is something very basic. Buddhism and Jainism should be on your tips, and they have a knack for asking saints now. So, whenever you have come across the names of any saints, when you were reading medieval India, especially, please remember their names and the dynasties which they were a part of. So, Sufism, Jainism, all these isms which are a part of Indian culture, just know a little bit more thoroughly about them. I think that should help. Otherwise, art and culture is a very big thing. All right. And additionally, Aditya, we have already done numerous questions on that. So maybe revising the questions that we have already done will help. But as of now, I can only tell you, revise as many questions as you can. The pattern of the exam is questions. It is not the test of your knowledge. It is the test of how well you can attempt those questions, how well you can eliminate the options. So if we had 6 months to prelims, I would have suggested you to read and read. But since it's less than a month to prelims, I am suggesting you to do as many questions as possible. If you feel you're stuck in art and culture, go and do as many questions as possible. Try to revise them. It'll hone your concepts. That's what I'm telling you, Chandrakala. Lay your hands on as many questions as possible. Revise the sets of questions that you've already done. That's the best way to go ahead for this prelims. And the most important thing, keep your head cool. See, if you can keep yourself calm, it's half the battle won already. You're better than the 50% of the people who will be anxious and eating to their bones already. It will already put you in the top 50%. Then the rest remains a game of your knowledge and your hard work that you have done for the entire year. Is that okay? You're very welcome, Ridhima. Prakash, I hope I've answered you. I've answered you, Aditya. Is that okay? And same for Chandrakala. So, should we close this session now? Or any more things that are coming up? We will actually be meeting up on 30th September or preferably 29th September. I'll have a one-to-one with all of you. We'll have a combined class of all the students whom I have taught so far. So I'll take up your queries, I'll take up your doubts, and we'll have one final session before you go for the prelims. Is that okay? Sorry, Prakash, what is the most difficult part? You're welcome, Chandrakala. Prakash, the only solution I have for you right now, I have seen you for a while now. I think from June I've been seeing you. You're pretty good with the subject. So I don't know what makes you so afraid. You don't you really don't have anything on stake apart from the 1 year thing, that the time that you've invested. So if you really want to utilize that time in the best possible manner, then stop being afraid. Otherwise, you're very well prepared for the exam. Don't worry. And you don't have to score 200 on 200. You just have to score 110 plus. That is easily doable. It's just 50% of the marks that you have to get. You already get 80% to 90% marks in the classes that I take. So don't worry. It'll be fine. Uh, all right. Solar, coming to your question, yes, it is possible, but I would still insist that you get a mentor. I would definitely insist on that because it saves you a lot of time. That is why you have teachers. Otherwise, the whole nation could have used Google for preparation. You wouldn't have teachers, you wouldn't have mentors. You need to have someone who is experienced. It saves you a lot of time and effort. And that's really helpful because UPSC, the syllabus is huge and the preparation does take a toll on your health. All right? Does that help, Sola? Please get a mentor. Please get somebody who has already done this exam. Please get a teacher involved. Get somebody involved. The self-study will be yours, but you do need a direction. Otherwise, you will be like a ship running in the entire ocean without a destination. Does that solve it? So should we call it a day, everyone? Are we done? Thank you, Prakash. Whatever mentor you can get a hand on, don't leave them. It's very important. All right. So I'll close for the day today. Take care, all of you.